Edition of Inside the News, we want to look at the developments that have taken place across in St. Kitts and Nevis and across the Caribbean region in the political arena. And if you have been following the news and following social media, you would realize that much have taken place, not just here in St. Kitts and Nevis, but in countries like St. Lucia and Grenada. And so today I want to facilitate a discussion with you on the developments that have taken place in the political arena and to get your feedback, your view on this. I think this comes as, a surprise to many people, as I would say it is not really the political season in terms of elections, because here in St. Kitts and Nevis, while there is an election looming in Nevis for the Nevis Island Assembly, for the federal elections, we just had one last year, 2020. And so some people did not really anticipate the climate to be political or hot during this point in time. We're also seeing in St. Lucia, with the leader of the opposition, Alan Chastity, has been heavily criticized for his absence from the country over the past few months since his party's defeat at the polls there in July. Chastity said that he was on vacation, using the time to reflect with his career in politics and using the opportunity to spend time with his family. Rightly so. However, he has been heavily criticized for being absent from the island's National Assembly and being absent from the constituency that replaced their trust in him in July's election. And so these developments have shaken up the political arena across the Caribbean region, I would say. And of course, I want to get your feedback on this for the remainder of this show. So if we look at, I want to start with St. Lucia and then we're going to bring it home. So we're looking at what has transpired there in St. Lucia, where, yes, Alan Chastity has been heavily criticized for being absent from the country after his defeat at the polls, where his United Workers' Party, UWP, lost the elections to the St. Lucia Labour Party. And Chastity seems uncertain, as he said, about his future following a devastating defeat at the July 26th general election. The former St. Lucia Prime Minister has been on vacation following the election and has missed every sitting of the House of Parliament since then. In addition, the Meakout South MP is yet to meet with his constituents. The former St. Lucia Prime Minister or leader's absence has been heavily criticized or critiqued by various sections of the public, some arguing whether he will ever return to St. Lucia. So people went as far as saying this. Now on Wednesday, Chastity called into a UWP radio and television program to clear the air on matters surrounding his absence. He said at the end of the month, I will be back in St. Lucia, stating that he will be present at the next sitting of Parliament. However, the UWP leader is unsure what his fate with the party will be upon his return. I just want to say that in no way am I making any decisions. What I am talking about is a process to prepare for a decision to be made, Chastity said. I have to recognize, and I think everybody would also appreciate, that for the party to be able to make a decision, I must make a decision myself, he continued. However, the opposition leader says he remains committed to the people who voted for him, the constituency of Midcoast South. That goes without saying, Chastity stated. Quote, I have no intentions of giving up the seat in Midcoast South, he declared. While on vacation, Chastity says he has been working towards creating a new entity that would give young people of Midcoast South opportunities to work from home for major companies such as Apple and Google. Chastity is hoping that the initiative can be replicated throughout the island and the wider region. And so this is, in a nutshell, what has transpired in St. Lucia over the past few days in the political arena, where Alan Chastity has been heavily criticized for his absence from the country since the defeat at the polls in July of this year. Chastity says, he was on vacation, just using the time to reflect with his family and reflect on his political life. But many people see it as, a bad move. Of course, not saying that he can't take vacation and take time to reflect on his life and his time as the leader of St. Lucia. But people have questioned the length of time that he has been out of the country, and went as far as to raise questions as to whether he will return to the country. And so that has made the news in the regional space across the Caribbean, with Alan Chastity and the future in his political party. We are also seeing in Bahamas where Dr. Hubert Minnis, may not be seeking re-election of the Free National Movement following his party's defeat at the polls. And so, across the Caribbean, this is what we are seeing. Alan Chastity is hinting that he may be stepping down as the leader of the United Workers' Party, and that too is what may happen in the Bahamas. Now, if we may bring it home here quickly, we are looking at what has transpired over the past few days with the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, the 90-year-old, or I think the party is making 90 years next year in January. And I think it is the oldest active political party in the Caribbean. Now, Dr. Douglas has said that he will not seek re-election as the political leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And he spoke extensively on that, and he also used the opportunity to address a voice note rather, that made the rounds on social media, that went viral on social media, about whether he will be seeking re-election, and in terms of the people or person that he will be supporting to lead the Labour Party after he decides to step down. And so we're going to hear a clip shortly from Dr. Douglas. It is it is an interview that, courtesy of Carib Update, They did an interview with Dr. Denzel Douglas on him stepping down from leadership of the Labour Party. We will take a break to say thank you to our sponsors, and when we come back, we will continue Inside the News here on WinFM 98.9. For those of you who are interested in participating in this program, you can do so at 466-0989, 762-0989, and 662-0989. You can also catch us live on Facebook at Win Media SKN. We are also live on our YouTube channel, which is also with Win Media SKN. You can also send us a WhatsApp at 662-2204. 662-2204. Let's take this short break, and we'll be right back.
Found the sound 99.9.
People make the world go round.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News on WinFM 98.9. I'm your host, Devon Cornelius. Thank you so much for joining me today right here on WinFM. It is 21 minutes past the hour of 11. Today is Saturday, October 23, 2021. Before we play that clip from Dr. Denzel Douglas, we have a clip from Alan Chastany weighing in on his political life and future with the United Workers' Party in St. Lucia. So I want you to stay tuned. We're going to get this clip for you of Alan Chastany speaking on his political life and career, and some other opportunities that he says he wants to bring forth for the people of his constituency. If you are interested in calling into the program, you can do so if you are in the UK at 033-344-0065. If you are in the USA, you can call us at 718-285-6984. And if you are in Canada, you can call us at 305-921-4619. These are the numbers. The local number is 466-0989. Remember, you can send us a WhatsApp at 662-2204. 662-2204. This is Inside the News on WinFM 98.9, and I'm your host for today, Devon Cornelius. I see we have the phone lines ringing, so before we play this clip, let us take this call. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Devon. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. What about you?
Oh, you're giving God thanks, man. It's just so sad you hear the news about Nevis, you know?
Yeah, it is.
We got to pray, and the young men, I don't know. If the adults don't learn to forgive, how will the young people learn? Everybody want the pound of flesh, you notice? The They want the pound of flesh with the blood in it. So we teach our children, body do you do them back. Now, the young people have ammunition, so they're using it. You know, it's got to be heartbreaking because on both sides everybody suffers, nobody wins, you know.
Yeah. That's the sad part about it.
Yeah, because if you are the mother of the victim, you feel bad, and if you are the mother of the perpetrator, you feel bad. How many mothers whose sons commit the crime feel strong enough, bold enough to go over to the other mother, you know, and give a word of comfort?
Mm-hmm.
These are like revenge.
I think it'll be too hard for something like that to happen.
Yeah, you know. But we got to learn, you know, because up to yesterday somebody was talking about when this white young fellow went in and killed 9 people in the church.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying, I don't understand that, how they could say they forgive and hug and so. But you got to deliver yourself, you know. If you don't free yourself from bitterness, it will eventually kill you or you kill somebody. Now this political fray, in the same vein, you know, party supporters drawing blood up on each other. Party supporters. Now let me deal with the one, our situation in St. Kitts. If you listen to the different shows, there is a call for the breakup of unity by people on one side. When to their dismay, they learn that they have bloodletting in their own party. Not physical bloodletting, eh?
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
But Dr. Douglas brought it on himself because in 2015 at a meeting in Keon, he announced to the whole world that Dr. Terence Drew was going to be his successor. I don't know if do you know that?
No.
In a public meeting. Therefore, people began to assume that he wanted it so. And of course, some of his closest comrades began to say, look, you lost twice, step down. And of course, I suppose the young man began to groom himself. I mean, people began, you know, well, he is the next successor and he is the next leader of the party. Only to learn that another set of the comrades. I mean, I was listening to a show, not yesterday, last week, and I was shocked at what people were saying about the doctor. I mean, the amount of antagonism that was displayed. If I was him, I wouldn't even bother. And then for the leader of the party, for he now trying to say, oh, you know, it was misinterpreted. The message was clear. The message was clear that he does not want Dr. Terence Drew to succeed him. There's no guessing. And he talking about how he was, that nobody going to embarrass him and, it, you know, what was done. Things change in Mr. Bratter Day. Nobody dare. It's like a dare, you know. How dare you? You know a lot of political parties like that? How dare you oppose the leader? So, their custom every year they have conference. And all the parties them, they go and oppose. And the year when there is somebody put up the name, the very members see it as treason. I don't understand how we reason. It happened in the Palm Party too. How dare you want to put up your name against the leader, as if the leader has a divine right to rule. So, we have factions behind Dr. Drew and another faction behind Dr. Douglas saying, well, oh, if the people want him. If the people want him, you see Mark Anthony just said it is always good to come down when you're at the top. If you don't come down, you're going to get dragged down, you know. And that has been the reason for the Labour Party losing power. And all of the leaders, when they're unable, they don't come down. And of course, everybody targeting Nevis. Let me get to the Nevis thing now. They feel that in the unity, the weakest link is the CCM. So they at first they start out by attacking. They attack Bradley, they accuse him of all kind of crimes, all kind of things. When that don't work, they turn. So they were trying to give poison the first time. Then the next time they're trying to give ice cream and cake. Because if you have a chain, you must attack what you consider to be the weakest link. And the same set of people who for 20 years saw all the citizenship money as St. Kitts money, because this ain't a guess. When the government changed in 2015, the leader of the Labour Party, Dr. Denzel Douglas, was furious in Parliament, asking Dr. Timothy Harris how he could give Nevis St. Kitts money. So that ain't work. So they're targeting Nevis, hoping to dislodge Mark. Then you have another sect in Unity, trying to convince Dr. Harris that he is entitled to a third term. You know, it's like a play. The whole thing is like a play, you know. You attack at every angle. And I am here just enjoying the scene. It's crazy. I think the whole thing is crazy. How it will come out, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think?
What I think about the whole situation going on?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as I say, I mean, this has really made news. It comes as a shocker to many people. For me, I am just going to right, but let me give my opinion. For me, I'm going to wait on the sidelines and I'm going to look to see. According to the Labour Party, they will be having a national conference in late November of this year, and that is when they're going to elect their national leader. According to Dr. Douglas, the people that will be going up for election as the national political leader will be Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, Dr. Terence Stew, and Mr. Conris Maynard. And so I am going to stand by, and not only me, but many people in St. Kitts and Nevis are going to anticipate and wait for those results.
Yeah, but do you know that Conris did not put up his name?
I'm not aware of that.
Yes,
I think the process.
They said so. They said
the process is a nomination.
Constituency 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Joe was selected, and in Constituency 1, Jeffrey was selected.
Mm-hmm.
Selected or elected.
Nominated.
Douglas who is now saying, well, what about Congress? Now, before I go, because I'm going so people can come in, I want to send some thanks. This morning there was a walk. I don't know if you know about the walk. The Lions Club of St. Kitts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, quickly, because we have some other callers on the line.
Yes, they had a walk, and they were walking. The team was walking for sight, and they involved the blind. So a number was from the center who were blind, the association, the Blind Association, and from the Association of Persons with Disability. We also went along. I went. My daughter took me. Lord, it was murder was for me, but I went. And I want to thank them, for remembering people with different disabilities. And I want to commend them, and I want to encourage the other clubs to reach out. Mm. We have the Association of Persons with Disability who needs help. The children home need help. the Cotton Thomas, the Addis Place, and the school in Nevis.
Right.
I want to
Thank
say
you so
thanks
much.
to the Lion, thanks to the Lion Club again.
Yes, thank you so much, Carlo, for your contribution to this program. Now we're gonna head back to St. Lucia quickly, and we're going to have the clip from Alan Chastanet with him weighing on his political options within the United Workers' Party.
The UWP's political leader, Alan Chastanet, says he is currently weighing his options when it comes to his political future. A recent guest on a local radio program, Chastanet was questioned about whether he would continue on with the party. That decision, says Chastanet, lies with the party, but at the same time, he too is mulling whether or not he will continue on, and if he does, what role he should play.
I am taking some time off to re-energize my batteries. I am also taking time off to give an internal discourse with myself as to how much more I have to give, because my party will go through a reflection. And I want to know that when it comes time to put the reflection in past and decide to move forward, what role I believe I can play. And I honestly believe, Champagne, that the term that globally that's used to describe an event that changes life forever is we call it a black swan event. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Peter.
Yeah.
Black swan event.
Black swan event, yeah.
So COVID is a black swan event. And things that we may have strongly believed in and hold as being true pre-COVID will not apply post-COVID. And so for me as an individual, I have to understand how those new thoughts and ideas apply to me and particularly my role in politics.
Chastanet took over the helm of the UWP in 2013 when he defeated Stevenson King in a leadership election. From there, he went on to lead the party to victory in the 2016 general elections, but suffered a crushing defeat in this year's election with only he and Choiseul MP Bradley Phillips securing their seats. Earlier this month, both the UWP chairman and first vice chairman tendered in their resignations, leaving observers wondering about the future of the party. Though not able to give a definite answer about his prospects with the party, Chastanet has indicated that he did not want to overstay in the political arena.
I've been in politics now for 16 years. I've now been prime minister. I have been critical of former prime ministers who have stayed on way too long and have become like an oak in the room. I think, Peter, you would be familiar with that term, an oak tree in the room, and not to allow grass to grow underneath it. And to allow, look, we have some really great young people who have gotten involved in the party. And maybe my role is not going to be as the leader of the party. I don't know. I'm not saying it, but I want to say that all options are on the table, and that this is the kind of discourse that must take place. And I'm so grateful to be part of a United Workers' Party in where democracy prevails and that we're realists.
Chastanet, as opposition leader, has not attended a meeting of the House of Assembly or taken the oath of office since being elected. He has received much criticism, including from the current administration, for failing to appear at the parliamentary sessions and for failing in his role as the Mico South MP. Chastanet, however, says he is committed to the Mico South constituents.
I have no intentions of giving up the seat in Mico South. Okay. In fact, one of the things I've been doing up here is about creating a new entity that I would like to start in Mico South, with the idea of it becoming nationwide and then something certainly in the wider Caribbean. And that is, I believe that young people have the greatest opportunity to be involved in international business than they've ever had before, whether it's a young artist in understanding trademarking, or a young artist, a singer, or a craftsperson, or somebody who designs software. International companies now, they've said that 1/3 of their workforce is not going to come back to work in their office. So it means there's an opportunity for a St. Lucian to work for a Google, to work for an Apple, based in St. Lucia. And getting an international salary.
So we hope you're speaking to these people on behalf of your constituents.
Yeah, so my intention is to create an entity that can help facilitate people in moving in that level of direction.
Meanwhile, Shasney says he will be back on island before the end of the month and will make an appearance at the next session of Parliament. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News on 1FM 98.9. It is 20 minutes to the hour of 12. Today's Saturday, October 23, 2021. I'm your host, Devon Cornelius. The phone lines are open. You can call us at 466-0989. Remember, you can shoot us a WhatsApp at 662-2204. Let's head to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. You're on Inside the News.
Good morning, Devon.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
I'm doing great. I just want to touch on something, and I'm going to get to your topic, something that Mrs. Henry said. Good morning, Mrs. Henry. Devon, when we pray and we ask for forgiveness, what is our sin? What is our sin that we ask for forgiveness? Mrs. Henry, piggyback on what I said on your program about the Caribbean guy who was gunned down in his apartment in Texas, and the case that was tried, the brother of the deceased asked to hug the killer, Amber Geiger. We have had a young man, Dylan Roof, who shot 9 people in a Baptist church, and they forgave him. The police officer took him for a burger to revive him after the shooting. I could say revive him. Anyone can choose to interpret the action of the police officer to their own thinking. I say they took him for a burger. They should have given him an award. So when we pray, Devon, and we ask for forgiveness, what is our sin? Looking back on history, who have been killing us? Are they praying for forgiveness? And if they are they being forgiven? Because to today, they are still killing us. Now, Mrs. Henry said that, I can't remember exactly what she said, but it sounded like she said that I must, if she were referring to me, she said, I must let it go. Devon, since 2020, I lost my job in the hotel industry. I met with my representative from constituency number 4, where he had an opportunity to give me a job at an extension of a business that he opened. You know what he said to me, Cornelius Devon? When I met with him 4 months after meeting with him on a one-on-one in my community, I met with him 4 months after, and he said, when I asked him about the job, and I was a bit apprehensive to approach him, but I built up the courage and I went and I asked him, I said, you didn't have to train me, because your first business, I opened it. I opened that first business that you opened. And I came to you seeking a job. He said, he put his hand in the roof of his car over his head and said to me that they thought I am up there. Well, I'm trying to figure out what up there means. So, Mrs. Henry, I am not even bitter towards my representative, because as I am alive today, I am surviving. So I am not bitter towards him. I am just simply trying to put the facts on the table that when we forgive, what is our sin? What is our sin? Because if those who are killing us, do they pray? Do they ask for forgiveness? So, Mrs. Henry, my representative said he thought I am up there, but he have a job. I don't want one. He had an opportunity to give me his representative, one of his, who he represents from his constituency number 4, and he chose not to give me the job. He took my number. I'm not waiting for him to call me. I'm not bitter towards him. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you, caller, for your contribution to this program. We're still taking calls here on 1FM 98.9, and the topic at discussion is political news at home and abroad. Call us today at Inside the News on 1FM 98.9. It is 15 minutes to the hour. We're going to break at 12 for the headline news, and we're going to come back thereafter to continue this conversation. I have the interview with Dr. Denzel Douglas, but I will play that interview in the second hour of the program. So stay tuned. You do not want to miss this piece from Dr. Denzel Douglas. So we are looking at what has happened in Caribbean politics over the past few days, and we can even take it back a few years. We can take it back a few years, where we're seeing older heads within the different political parties. They're stepping down, and they are making room for younger people to come and serve, and they must be commended, because for many years, and many people have publicly criticized and critiqued politicians, particularly those that have been in office for 20 and 30 years, and they are all of the opinion that these politicians should vacate office or step down from the active politics, mainstream politics, and allow younger people to serve. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. You're on Inside the News.
Hey, good morning. I see we are waiting for people to call. Now let me continue. Now you didn't mention Barbados. They're also having something.
Yes, that is so true.
You know, one politician said he is stepping down so the young people could get
that
a
is
chance.
You can correct me, but I think it's John King. He did say that he's going
to Mayor Matthew's party.
Yes, I think that's the Barbados Labour Party. He is stepping down as well.
Well, the opposition in Barbados says push out. They're pushing them out. So you don't have a pushing out going on. You're never sure. But you know what amuses me? They put the people to war against each other, and they waltz from side to side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that?
Yeah.
Some of them, even the week after, you don't abuse your neighbor. On the other side, next thing you know, you representative and neighbor on the same side. When will we learn? Now, this strange setup that Dr. Douglas is proposing doesn't make any sense, because he said he is not going to give up his position as the leader of the opposition. Now his constituency, well, I don't mind him with the constituency. But let us suppose that Jeffrey, because Jeffrey is the only one in the house, him and Jeffrey Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Jeffrey Henry becomes the leader of the party, and Dr. Douglas remains the leader of the opposition, the leader of the opposition is a constitutional position, you know.
Yes.
In that uncertain decision, the leader of the opposition has to be consulted by the Prime Minister and the governor. So he can make decisions that maybe may not suit the party. Or the party leader is left out. So I am thinking if both of you go into the House and you say you're no longer the leader of the party, why not transfer all of the, let me say hand because, right, to be the leader of the opposition. So whenever he goes anywhere to represent, he's speaking for both the leader, the Queen's loyal thing, as they say, and for the party. Because in no way can the leader of the party control the leader of the opposition, you know. Because some people don't know that. If you say you're finished, you're finished. But it goes back to 2010. This is why we have PLP, you know. Leaders make promises that they will not keep. They go for all of them. You make a promise. Well, in 2010, he said it on the radio that he's going to serve for 2 more years, you know, and after that, he will hand it over. Well, some factions in the party began to line up behind Dr. Harris, who they saw as his successor. And then another set said, boy, no, you can't do that. He go and change his word. So how can these younger ones trust him? He was talking about, you know, acting on for a few more months and something.
If I may comment on what you're saying about, which Dr. Douglas has said that he will remain as the leader of the opposition in the National Assembly.
Uh-huh.
Now, let's say, hold on, let's say that Dr. Jeffrey Hanley wins the leadership race of the St. Stephen's Labour Party, right?
Yes.
And so therefore he's the political leader of the party, but not in the not in the House. He's not the opposition leader in the House. So you may have a situation where Dr. Hanley is the leader of the party, but Dr. Douglas is the leader of the opposition in the House. Now, if I may be honest, I don't see that as being a major conflict because they're of the same party, and I don't think it's going to be a situation where Dr. Douglas is making decisions without consulting the party leader, or the party leader is making decisions without consulting the leader of the opposition, because I think they are shared responsibilities. So I don't see it as
They should.
I don't see it as a big issue. So if it comes to a situation where that happens, I can say that both will be working together to make sure that what happens as leader of the opposition happens as leader of the political party.
So to make it easy, you just hand it to the young man. Because if you have somebody who you cannot trust, because this party thing has been, how do you think some of them come out?
How do I think some of who come out?
If, because remember he had no intention of stepping down, you know. It was never in his plan.
Who said that?
Actions speak louder than words. Remember he said since 2015, Dr. Drew. So you go into one election, you lose. You go into another one. So now his people saying, oh, well, Drew ain't win no seat, so you can't be a party leader. You're the chairman. I don't know if you heard them. I mean, there was one big ruckus on Freedom. The people were calling in and saying, questioning Drew's capability, eligibility to be the party leader. You see, when you give a word, if you don't learn to keep your word, and that go to, while I'm at it, at Unity. Dr. Timothy Harris has said that he is committed to 2 terms. Yet, people within his party and others are saying, oh, well, the bill ain't passed, so he could take 3. Our word must be our bond. Devon, if you tell me something, if you can't tell me the truth, don't tell me. Even when they had the thing in Sandy Point. And Sean responded, and maybe Sean responded to the ladies. I think the lady should have been stopped and advised. That's my personal feeling, eh? I ain't got no party. But when she went on the thing at the PLP convention, I was begging and beseeching Dr. Timothy Harris to break his word. I would have stopped her, turn off the mic or something. Because what that has done, it has put a wedge in the party. And then you have other people come and say, oh, yes. He's the only one, he's the best. Of course, he's good. But when we go down certain road, we don't know where it's going to end. We don't know where it's going to end. The issue, even with Miss Gray and Patches Liebert. The matter was settled since June. If you have a constituency meeting and they run and you lose, you lose. And you win, you win. Therefore, there should not have been this hullabaloo about, oh, they put up the girl since June. Everybody heard the hullabaloo and they said, oh, who against who? Now, what are the young people to do and what are they to think? If you can't trust them, well, my trust is in God. Because the Bible says, woe to man who trusts in man.
Right. Well, caller, thank you.
True. Don't say he could. Because
yes.
He had ample time. And it has happened to a lot of the labor leaders. When they lose, they don't want to come down.
Right. Caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We want to take some more calls, and so it is just 4 minutes before the hour of 12. We'll take some more calls here on 1FM 98.9. Numbers are 466-0989. We're going to break at 12 for the headline news, and we're going to continue this conversation after, where we're going to get an interview from Dr. Denzel Douglas that was done with Carib Update. So we give credit to Carib Update for the interview with Dr. Denzel Douglas. And so, yes, this has been making the news in terms of what has been happening across the political arena in St. Kitts and Nevis and across the Caribbean region, where we're seeing a number of older heads within the political parties are stepping down and they are making room for their colleagues and younger people within the party to step forward and serve. And I think that speaks volume. I think it is good for those leaders to see that, they have come to the realization that it is now time for them to step down. It is now time for them to give it over to somebody. The issue has been with political parties is that people get too comfortable. And when I say people, I mean supporters. They get comfortable with their respective leaders. Oh, I've been supporting this person for the past 10 years, and I love them, and we get on well, and so I don't want to see them go. And that has created a lot of confusion within political parties because people tend to hold on to personalities, and people tend to hold on to what they can benefit instead of looking at the bigger picture. And so people will be, oh, don't step down, don't leave, don't go. And if making political threats such as, if this person steps down or if this person leaves the party, I'm going to stop support the party because, it's ridiculous. And this is something that we have seen in Caribbean politics, in St. Kitts and Nevis politics, and all across the region, where many of the times the confusion is not really amongst the politicians themselves or the political representatives themselves, but amongst the party and its supporters. That is what we have seen across the region. And so a number of heads have said that, I'm going to take a back seat from politics. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to, take this time to focus on my life and reflect on my life and the contribution that I've made to a nation development and development of the country. And they must be commended. Now, the question has been raised about what are young people to do? Because young people want to step forward, but they're not being given the opportunity to do that. No, you can't step forward if you're not ready. And you should not be in a position if you're not ready to serve, if you're not ready to handle the pressure that will come with that position. So this is a delicate conversation, I would say, very delicate. And we're just standing by and looking looking on to see what is going to happen. It is 12 o'clock, and so we're gonna pause for the headline news, and when we come back, we're going to continue inside the news here on WinFM 98.9. Stay tuned. When we come back after the news, we're going to have the clip from Dr. Denzel Douglas weighing in on him stepping down as the leader of the Sinkis Nevis Labour Party. Stay tuned to WinFM 98.9. I've been your host for the first hour, Devon Cornelius. Let's take this break for the headline news, and we'll be right back.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Cariboury.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With the WinFM News, I am Devon Cornelius, making the headlines. Senseless violence claims 2 Nivision lives. Haiti kidnappings. Leader of G9 group denies gangs involvement. The Queen back at Windsor after hospital stay. Now the details. 2 men were murdered in a shooting in Nevis on Friday night. One understands that Shaheem Farrell, 21, and Xavier Howell, 23, were ambushed after 10 p.m. by masked gunmen on Pinny's Beach. Police told Wynn that they received reports of the incident after 10 p.m. and upon arrival at the scene, the motionless bodies of the young men were discovered. Investigations so far have revealed that Farrell and Howell were reportedly sitting on a bench outside a popular restaurant when they were sprayed with a hail of bullets. Prayers and condolences to the family came pouring in early Saturday morning by people throughout the island of Nevis, including public officials. Premier Mark Brantley wrote on his Facebook page, quote, I am heartbroken that our beloved island has again been hit by senseless violence. My heartfelt condolences to the families and friends that today are mourning. I pray that those who know something will cooperate fully with the police to ensure that justice is swift and certain. Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, leader of the opposition, also expressed condolences in a Facebook post this morning. She said, I am deeply saddened to learn that we have lost 2 of our youths in one night. I deeply sympathize with both families who must be so heartbroken and devastated by the sudden loss of their loved ones. As an island and as a country, we must be alarmed at the stubbornness of gun violence that creates such agony for us all.
A show of force by members of the G9 gang in Port-au-Prince. While images of heavily armed gang members marching freely through the city streets might seem surreal to many, it's a scene that's become quite common in the Haitian capital. Some gangs, like the G9, are even trying to reinvent their image and appear more like a political organization than a criminal enterprise.
We want to build good schools, good hospitals, have good, clean water. We are the sons of the nation.
On the streets, gang violence seems to be getting worse by the day, and growing insecurity means part of the job of public transport drivers is to always keep an eye out for trouble.
The police could do something for us because they're the law, so they're the ones that should protect us, but they don't do anything, so we don't know what to do.
Gang violence is not a new phenomenon in Haiti. Even government leaders have been known to use gangs in the past to exert political control. But locals tell us the scale of the violence is reaching unprecedented levels.
We need security in this country. We can't go on living like this anymore. We have people with guns everywhere, and the police beats us with sticks, and everything is really hard for us. We need change in this country.
Despite the dangers, people still have to go out if they want to make a living.
For many residents of Port-au-Prince and for drivers, simply commuting around town is one of the most dangerous activities they can do, running the risk of being kidnapped, being robbed, or getting caught in the crossfire of rival gangs fighting each other over control of different parts of the city.
An estimated 50% of territory in the Haitian capital is said to be under the control of criminal gangs. And while the case of 17 hostages being held by a gang known as 400 Marozo has attracted international attention, foreign aid groups say the magnitude of the security crisis has far-reaching implications.
The gangs are expanding their power and their control on areas of the capital city. And again, it's a vicious cycle. If you have more insecurity, then humanitarian actors, then the state authorities can no longer bring humanitarian services and access to basic services to the population, which then leave the space to criminal gangs to take power. This is the cycle we need to break.
While some fear becoming victims of violence, others have accepted the slow takeover by crime syndicates, a symptom perhaps of the distrust many have of authorities, complicating the efforts to win back control of the city from the criminal groups who are trying to run it. Manuel Rapalo, Al Jazeera, Port-au-Prince.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has reacted to the lawsuits being filed by two groups of employees against the COVID-19 mandates imposed at their workplaces. Addressing journalists during a vaccine tour in Clarendon yesterday, Mr. Holness was cautious in his response to the development.
4 workers of AIC Jamaica and 5 CARMED employees are seeking to challenge the mandatory vaccine policy instituted by their workplaces. They are seeking injunctions to stop the companies from enforcing the policy, as well as declarations that constitutional rights have been breached or are about to be virus. However, he says a global conversation has led local companies to go the route of mandatory vaccination.
In a press conference, I was very clear to the public that the government was not considering mandates, especially in the sense that the public interprets mandates, which is compulsion, that somebody is going to come and drag you into a clinic and stick you in your arm.
Mr. Holness says he has been touting differential treatment for those who have been vaccinated.
Treatment. And this is grounded already in our laws here, that, for example, unvaccinated students and unvaccinated children are not allowed to enroll in schools until they are vaccinated. Persons who are suspected of a contagious disease that is so declared, they can be quarantined. And so it would be for the application of the general principle of how do we treat with persons who are vaccinated versus persons who are not vaccinated. And it is not a discrimination. It is a matter of saying, here are the options. So if you are unvaccinated, then there might be options for you, such as showing that you are not infected.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
The actor Alec Baldwin was told a gun was safe just moments before he fatally shot a crew member on the set of his new film. That's according to new documents filed as part of the police investigation into the death. The Hollywood star said in a statement there were no words to convey his shock and sadness. Our North America correspondent David Willis reports.
2 people accidentally shot on a movie set by a prop gun. We need help immediately.
That call to the emergency services, the first public indication of the tragic events that had unfolded in the foothills of northern New Mexico. Police arrived to find Halyna Hutchins, an up-and-coming cinematographer, dead, and the film's director, Joel Souza, badly hurt. Their injuries inflicted by the film's star, Alec Baldwin, who, according to court documents, was handed a gun he was told was safe to use, but which was, in fact, loaded with a live round. In a statement, Alec Baldwin said he was cooperating with the police investigation. There are no words to convey my shock and sadness regarding the tragic accident that took the life of Halyna Hutchins, a wife, mother, and deeply admired colleague of ours, he wrote. This is not the first tragedy of its kind. Nearly 30 years ago, on the set of the film The Crow, Brandon Lee, the son of martial arts expert Bruce Lee, died after being shot by a gun firing blanks. Safety standards have been tightened on film sets since then, but on the family Twitter account, Brandon's sister, Shannon, posted the message, "No one should ever be killed by a gun on a film set, period." Unconfirmed reports suggest that several crew members walked off the set in New Mexico only hours before Halyna Hutchins died, in protest at working conditions and concerns about safety. As detectives comb the set for clues, the key question facing them is how did a live round end up in a gun fired by Alec Baldwin? David Willis, BBC News, Los Angeles.
Buckingham Palace says the Queen is in good spirits and back at Windsor Castle after spending Wednesday night in hospital. She was taken in for tests after being forced to cancel a trip to Northern Ireland. Her doctors had told her to rest following a busy round of public engagements. Here's our royal correspondent, Nicholas Witchell.
Windsor, 2 days ago, early afternoon. A convoy of royal vehicles was seen heading in the direction of London. Was this the convoy taking the Queen to hospital? At around the same time, at Windsor Castle itself, a very small royal standard was seen to be flying, its presence supporting the palace's claim that the Queen was resting at the castle. In fact, the Queen was here, at the private King Edward VII Hospital in central London. The palace clearly hoped her visit would go unnoticed. It did until last night, when The Sun led with the story that she'd spent the night in hospital. That prompted a short statement from the palace. Following medical advice to rest for a few days, the Queen attended hospital on Wednesday afternoon for some preliminary investigations, returning to Windsor Castle at lunchtime today and remains in good spirits. Buckingham Palace insists that, like any citizen, the Queen is entitled to privacy over medical issues. The palace will therefore say nothing about the nature of the investigations ordered by her doctors. The one thing we can say is that she seemed completely well on Tuesday night when she hosted a reception for global business leaders and others at Windsor Castle. According to people who saw her, she was relaxed and on good form. That was just the latest in a busy few weeks for her, which had included a visit to Cardiff for the opening of the Welsh Parliament on the 14th of October, her attendance 2 days earlier at a service at Westminster Abbey to mark the centenary of the Royal British Legion, quite apart from the daily and largely unseen work of the monarch with audiences and boxes of paperwork.
Oh, of course, it's good morning, isn't it, to you?
According to the palace, the Queen resumed that paperwork last night, a few hours after returning from hospital. She is, the palace says, continuing with light duties and remains determined to attend the COP26 summit in Glasgow at the end of the month. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News.
This has been the WinFM 98.9 newscast. Let's take another look at our headlines. Senseless violence claims 2 Nivision lives. Haiti kidnappings. Leader of G9 group denies gang's involvement. The Queen back at Windsor after hospital stay. Devon Cornelius, WinFM, thank you for listening.
That was the WinFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Caribou.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king. Please drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
People make the world go
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
For those of you who are just tuning in, we are entertaining a discussion on some political news at home and abroad. The United Workers' Party in St. Lucia, the Sinkers Labour Party at home, and we're seeing across the region where a number of older politicians are stepping down and allowing a change to happen within their political organization. You can also catch this discussion live on Facebook at Win Media SKN. You can check out our YouTube channel at Win Media SKN. And remember, if you want to send us a WhatsApp message, a comment, a question, anything, you can do so at 662-2204. 662-2204. Welcome back to Inside the News. We're heading back to the phone lines. Let's take our first call for this afternoon. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
In the context of what you're speaking of in terms of all the leaders stepping down, locally here, the major parties are all have relatively young leaders. Honorable Sean Richard, Honorable Mark Bratton, the Prime Minister are all around 55 or younger. This is relatively young. Does that put in your opinion, the NRP leaders at a disadvantage with their leader? I think I'm not sure, she's 62 or older. What is that a disadvantage to them, you think? What's your opinion on that?
Right. Thank you, caller, so much for your question, and thank you for that. No, it does not. And I guess I am not being clear on when I talk about older leaders. Now, older leaders can be taken to mean two things. Older leaders can be talking about the actual age of the person. and older leaders can be talking about the political age of the person. And so you may have in politics, or you will have in politics, people who entered politics at age 25 or in the 20s, in the 30s, and 20 years later, 30 years later, they are still in active politics. And so they are considered the older leaders in the political arena. If you have somebody entering politics for the first time at age 50 or at age 60, it is, I think, not, or I don't think they should be classified as an older leader or as an old head of the party, because they, for the first time, are entering active politics. That is my response to your question. We are still taking your calls here on Win FM 98.9. This is Inside the News. It is 12:26. The phone lines are open, and the topic at hand is the political news in St. Kitts and Nevis across the Caribbean region, where older heads of the political parties are stepping down and they're allowing for new leadership for other people to take over, whether it be of the party itself or in different constituencies. We saw in the Barbados where John King has said that he will not be seeking re-election. And so for the past few days, or for the past few weeks, this has been happening. We also saw in the Bahamas, Dr. Minnis has said that he will not be, continuing in active politics. And some young people or younger people have been nominated to serve in that party. This is what we are saying. And so, when we talk about, or whenever we have this conversation of politics and political parties and people taking over and there being change, if I may go back to what I said before in terms of the supporters within the party, and it is natural. Supporters may, you get comfortable and you really like this person, you don't want them to step down, and so you will be supporting them to continue for a year or two or more as the person who is responsible or as the leader of the party. Let's head back to the phone lines. Okay, we lost that caller. You can call us back at 466-0989, 762 and 662. Again, the numbers are 466-0989. We're going to play a clip very shortly from Dr. Denzil Douglas on him stepping down from leadership of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Let's head to the phone lines. Caller, good morning, good afternoon. Sorry, you're on the air.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you? I just wanted to give you a reminder about the interview with Dr. Denzil Douglas, because I want to kind of chime in, but I want to hear that interview first before I make any comments on the topic today. Is there any way we can get that played, please, sir?
Yes, I just said I'm going to play it.
Okay, great. I just wanted to give you a reminder, that's all.
Thank you, caller, for your contribution to this program. You're still taking calls here on 1FM 98.9. It is just about 12:30. We're going to wrap up in the next hour at 1:30 when we bring this program to an end. And so, yes, in political parties, which is natural, which is something that you will always see, you're going to get comfortable and you're going to, get attached to someone. And you're going to say, I really prefer this person to continue serving within the party. And that's just what we're going to see. Okay, we have some more callers in the line. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, I want you to clarify the statement you made about not being able if you're not prepared. Whose responsibility is it to prepare? Now you are an active member of a party. Parties have young arms, right? Youth arms. Shouldn't political education begin there?
We have seen this process has begun a long time. And so when I'm talking about people getting ready to take over leadership of a party, the preparation and helping them to get prepared starts with you as the person who is interested and the people who are exiting office. And so it's not a process that is left up to you as the person who is interested in the position, but you working with the older heads, with the other people within the party to learn more about the political arena, leadership, and all that is really required to lead the party.
Well, this is why I keep saying, now, years ago, there was a program called Women's Political Participation. I took part in it both as a learner and also as a promoter, right? And parties were asked to send young people. It was directed more at young and women. It was designed for women, but men were allowed to come. You have the template there. All parties are because people came from all the parties. A number of the persons who are now in politics came to that program. You don't think the parties could take the onus upon themselves to train the people? You train all who are available, and then you'll be able to assess.
Yeah,
but if you're walking around and picking up people...
Carla, not to cut you off, so are we saying that the parties are not training their people?
I am speaking. I'm coming to it, man. I'm coming to it. If they were training their people, they would have better choices in the candidates that they pick. Blunt, mouth talking in leadership, you know. It isn't a man could talk, so they have leadership qualities. They have to be trained. There has to be a systematic program of training in political activity and leadership. Quite two things. But if you're just walking around and, oh, well, Devon not be on the radio, so Devon could do. What does Devon know about political activity, organization, campaign financing? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm listening to you.
I am saying it's time enough. We dare make an excuse. Sometimes you hear some people, oh, this person is a candidate. And you say, really? What qualifies them to be the candidate? Because people like them? So that creates some of the problems. So when we choose candidates, and then when time to have succession planning, and then we then declare and decide that you don't see anybody. So you have to go and look for somebody. It doesn't speak well on none of the parties. None. There has to be a formalized, organized syllabus or curriculum of political education. You wouldn't have all of that. You will know whether 2 or 3 show some sign. Because your constituency could put you up because they want you up so that they could lead the country. You know the song about sucking labor breast? You ever hear that song?
No.
You know the Calypso?
No, I've never heard that one, sorry.
Really? Sucking labor breast. They just suck all the party breasts. And you know, a lot of the people you hear agitating for the leaders to stay on are those who benefit the most. They, you know, they don't want to lose their privileges. So then they haul in the support of the poor people who get in the scraps off the table to fight for them. Look and see who. Look and see who fill the top positions. Chairman of the board, this board, some on 3, 4, 5 board, all the contracts. You don't hear a word. You see how you're asking questions and none of them, not one of them calling in. Not one. They're waiting to see who is left alive to feast on the carcass. That's what it is. And the young people, again, I don't understand some of you. But you're young, right? I don't mean you personally, you young people. As Devon has said, you must start to educate yourself with internet. And even the program, you could ask the party, look, we want to have some training in political participation for the youth group, so that they don't just become the second branch of causing for a party. Because sometimes when I hear the youth, I say they sound just the echo in the old people. The echo in the old people, and how much support. Now we have a lot of young people stepping up now. Let me go to NRP, right? NRP. We had some people who were very vociferous on the radio. I haven't heard a word out of them. Now, if you was here and young people now in, shouldn't you be speaking up on their behalf too? While they're speaking, because as long as you keep quiet, people figure, well, boy, if they really want Devon, you know, Sylvian would have been behind him. I am watching and listening, you know. I have not heard them. Maybe you in Nevis, you could hear them, but I listen to Van. I don't hear them. So where are they? All the former candidates, the older people. The young people now look at the left to fight, to battle for themselves. Is that so? I could be wrong. Is that so?
I disagree.
Is that so?
No, I disagree.
Where do you hear them? On platforms?
Where do I hear who?
All the candidates for the NRP.
Do you have to hear them to say that they're left to... So are you saying you must hear them to say that they are still working?
The younger people.
Okay.
When the younger people speak, I don't mean to speak for them. Let us say the younger people have a topic, right? We're talking about COVID and its effect on the economy. And the younger people. Then you're supposed to come with something supporting. Because remember that the people were attached to you, you know. Presently, they're not attached to any of the... Remember the one in the house in Nevis. There's no attachment to any others, you know. Because they have never been elected. But you who have had support, some have run a couple times, it is up to them to encourage the transfer of support from them to the new candidate. You don't think so?
I'm listening.
Have you thought about it?
I'm listening to you.
Yeah. You can say, well, they will say, well, boy, if my good friend Hensley, I love Hensley. If Hensley supporting, so you know, then I think I could, even though I may know what she stand for, whatever. That is how election go. Why do you think people want to vote for Dr. Douglas? They're accustomed to him.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that he put up, the old time they say you could have put a dog in a bag of market labor to vote for it. Because they have confidence in the person who is promoting it. So I am quite a bit puzzled by the silence of the former, not NRP alone, don't get me wrong. All of the former politicians, especially those with the double mouth, I don't listen to them. They're here today, tomorrow they're over there, then they're over there, then they're over there. When you don't know where people stand, you pay them no mind. But I'm talking to the seasoned ones, the reliable, dependable ones. Those are who you listen to, because don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted, you know. Election day come. People say, well, I'm not going to vote for she. You know? And some say, well, why are there not a woman there? Especially this patriotic society we have. They have to help to transfer the loyalty of the male population to these women. It don't just happen. It does not just happen. So you might say, well, we're just allowing them to think themselves. You better be there to back them up.
Mm-hmm. Right. Caller, thank you so much for your contribution. We'll take some more calls here on 1FM 98.9. It is 20 minutes to the hour. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, that's Inside the News?
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. I crave your indulgence. Inside the News, I heard that there was a shooting incident in Nevis last night.
Last night.
that resulted in the loss of life,
Yes.
young lives.
Yes.
Really, I'm taking this opportunity to extend my deepest sympathy to grieving families. And families and friends, neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it's a very sad, sad day
It is.
when we have a pandemic that resulted in quite a number of loss of life. And you have guns, violence, taking young lives. I understand it's the area was Sunshine Bar Restaurant have a high reputation around the world.
It was done on the beach where it happened in close proximity to that restaurant. Yeah.
Yes. But I guess person might have been traumatized in the area. But this is not speaking well of a small society, a small community like Nevis, where everybody almost knows each person. And the person must be really outrageous. And today, the program should have been allowed even some time for person to reflect really on this grave
To be honest with you, caller, I don't want to dwell too much on that because it's very close to home. I know two of them personally. One is a former co-worker and one is the son of a former co-worker. So I don't want to dwell too much on it. It's too close and it's too sad. And for me to entertain that discussion, I probably might just burst into tears. But I appreciate you for calling in and for sharing your condolences.
But not even to appeal for persons who might have revenge.
So what I will encourage you to do, use this opportunity to do just that.
Well, it's a very sad day, and it seemed to me that we have almost become tolerant to this kind of violence. It's a very, very sad day when we as a people could be so numb to see two young men being shot to death. And today we are talking, we have a program we could entertain in all the hours about politics. Very sad.
Caller, I'm not going to entertain you today. You will not be entertained. I have made my position very clear. Very clear. If you want to call in today and to express your condolences to the family, that is absolutely fine. That is fine. But I have explained to you that this one is close to me as well. And so for me to sit here for the next 2 hours and talk about this double murder, it's not going to be easy. So if you're listening to the program and you want to call in to share your condolences, you can do that. You can definitely do that. But don't come here and dictate what must happen and what should not happen. I will not tolerate that. We must be able to respect people's stance and respect my position on that. It is too close to home for me to speak on that. Too close to home. So I am giving everybody the opportunity to call in and to share their position. At the same time, you have to give family and friends the opportunity to grieve. But to talk about it for the next 2 hours is totally unnecessary. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yeah, Mr. Devon, I respect what you're saying. It's a personal kind of feeling for you. But when I call in, I ask if this was inside the news. I am calling in based on a news item. I wasn't aware that this matter was so close to you. And really and truly, I felt a bit sad. And all I wanted was that persons who have revenge intention is to leave it up to the law enforcement to make their investigation. I must apologize to you if this really have made you so sad that you cannot allow people to really express their feelings.
Caller, do not say that. Do not say that. I have given you the opportunity to call in and say what you have to say on the murder that took place in Nevis last night. I have said, and I will say again, I'm not going to make the entire program about that. But I am giving you the opportunity. If you want to speak on it, speak on it.
No, but I wouldn't call in if it was not a matter with Inside the News. I felt well then. You know, I heard it. I didn't really want to interrupt your program based on the political thing in the Caribbean. But this is something really that hit me. Two young persons, they ain't sick in the bloom in life. And all I can say, I am not going to wait until 48 hours when you have people out there with revenge intention to appeal to them. I am appealing to those who have intention. Do not carry out your acts of violence. And those are you responsible if one or two turn you or yourself into the police who are responsible. Do that. Thank you very much, Devon.
And thank you so much, caller, for your contribution to this program. We are still taking calls here. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Cornelius.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my takeaway from the political conundrum that we're in is that it vindicates my advocacy and that of others for good governance, for ethical behavior, and democracy in our politics. These things are not just important at the national level. They're important at the party level as well. Okay? Interestingly enough, all the major parties ascribe to these principles, but they do not practice them. That is the problem. I think the country made a big mistake when they re-elected the unity government, knowing full well that they had broken their pledge to the people. Somehow Team Unity succeeded in changing the narrative to things like piers and roads and $500 instead of the good governance mantra that they promised. And a lot of the corruption and the incompetence and the failure and the fissures that Team Unity have now is a result of the abandonment of this agenda. Right? Sean Richards again kicked the can down the road the other day when he had his press conference. You would have thought, as an aspiring prime minister, he would have shown himself to be different and face the issue head on. But instead, he kicked the can down the road. You know? So all kinds of foolishness happen, and since they were not held accountable for it, it will continue to happen unless we have that good governance agenda front and center. Right? The Labour Party's woes, I think, is also a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
If there are processes for leadership transition, these should be followed to a T without any kind of maneuvering and subterfuge. Okay? Do things correctly and you would not end up with chaos and confusion. Anyway, it seems as if good sense has prevailed, and judging from the excerpts from the party leader, the current party leader, Dr. Douglas, there seems to be a resolution in sight, and they are back on track insofar as the way forward for the party and the leadership issues concerned. Okay, I think Douglas was very wise and very statesmanlike to, I think it sounded like a climb down to me from his original position, but I think he did a very wise and statesmanlike thing in coming to that resolution. Okay, they'll have a conference, the leaders will be chosen, he's stepping down, The party should then set about uniting its supporters, regardless of who won. Only one could have won, okay? And save the country from this government. They are a corrupt set of misfits who are taking the country down the wrong road, I think. Okay? I mean, I listened to a program the other night there, and if it's a quarter of what was said about the kinds of things that are happening in the country where there is no oversight for, we're in serious trouble. The good governance agenda, that is what we need. Okay? And you know, regardless of what you may think of Dr. Douglas, he served the country well. Okay? Yes, a lot of mud was thrown at him.
Yeah.
And he kept quiet with it. And the last 18 months also, certainly since the last election, he's been extremely quiet as well. I don't think the country could carry on like this with the opposition being so silent. Now, the Labour Party is accustomed to being in the vanguard of the people, the common people's struggles. And, you know, you can't abdicate that, right? You can't sit on the sidelines. They're not accustomed to being on the sidelines. So I don't think they could have tolerated another, whether 6 months or whatever of that, okay? That kind of strategy, right? It was, I think, a disaster. Not with so many things happening. Not with so many people complaining, ordinary people complaining, right? The opposition had to take up the cudgel for them, right? And with new leadership, although Dr. Douglas did well, maybe he was tired, I don't know. With new leadership, I think it gives people the opportunity, or certainly gives the party the opportunity to get back into the limelight again and take up the struggles of people, because, you know, what I'm seeing here is too much of a self-serving group of people in office who seem to just want to take the lion's share and give people the crumbs. And that is not good. That does not make for stability, I don't think. Okay, so I welcome the new developments, and I hope it lead to a stronger opposition, okay, one that will hold the government more accountable and embrace the good governance agenda, okay, and make sure that it's implemented like yesterday. Don't even wait to get into office, right? Make sure that they hold the government feet to the fire. Otherwise, we'll continue to have chaos and confusion and complaints and dissatisfied citizens. Okay, and that's not good for our country. All right, then.
Caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We're still taking calls here on Inside the News. It is just 3 minutes before the hour of 12. The phone lines are open. The numbers are 466-0989, 762 and 662. You can also send us a WhatsApp message at 662-2204. 662-2204. Remember, we're live on Facebook at Win Media SKN. You can also check out our YouTube channel at Win Media SKN and our website at www.winmediaskn.com. I know many of you are waiting for that clip from Dr. Douglas. We're going to have that interview played very shortly, so please stand by for that. And of course, I will be entertaining your comments and your feedback on what will be said or what has been said by Dr. Douglas. At this time, we're going to take some calls up until about 1 p.m. and then hopefully we're going to get that clip. We're going to get that clip played for you. The phone lines are still open and we're still taking your calls. The topic at hand is the a development that has taken place in the political arena in St. Kitts and Nevis and in neighboring Caribbean islands. Let's head back to the phone lines. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon again. It would be nice if you play the voice clip that led to that interview, because it is not in isolation. So do you have access to it? Because they say it all over Facebook, all over the media.
I don't have access at the moment.
Or you think it's down, huh?
No.
Let somebody send it to you. Because that is what has led to all of this public debate, right? And, we like to skirt around the issues, And again, I say it starts with the parties, political parties. The succession planning. I don't know why people think they can't, because you don't even have to get old. You could be sick. This country was governed from the bed of a sick premier for 2 years, 2 years, Mr. Thatcher was sick in bed. And Carol, let Anthony Carol think for Anthony. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm listening.
2 years, he had enough time to say, look, if I should pass, then let Mr. Southwell or Mr. Mills. But I don't know what is wrong with our people. It does not mean the end of your life. It's like in the public service, some people, they don't prepare anybody to take over from them. So when they retire, the whole department collapses. So that is our culture, and we have got to break it. All right, then.
Caller, thank you so much for your contribution. We're going to play this clip right now, the interview with Dr. Denzil Douglas on him stepping down from the leadership of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party.
Joining me now is Dr. Denzil Douglas, opposition leader in St. Kitts and Nevis and the political leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me, Ms. Farrier.
Well, let's cut right to the chase. You've gone viral in the last couple of days. A voice note, leaked voice note, I believe, went viral. So you've been breaking the internet. Is it based on everything that we heard in this voice note? Is it safe to say that you are planning to step down as leader?
Well, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party in January, it celebrates its 90th anniversary. And for the 90 years that it would have been in existence, I have led it for 32 years. Isn't that a long time?
That's a minute. That's quite a minute, yes.
Right. So what is happening here is that the party is getting ready to go into its annual national conference in November. And one of the important aspects of this conference, in fact, it has been dubbed an electoral conference because we are hoping to elect the new leadership, the new executive of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party for the next 2 years. And it is, at the moment, a situation where I have declined nomination in advance of the balloting that takes place in November. So in the preparations that we are having, I would not hope to be on the ballot.
So you're stepping down. What sort of timetable are we looking at here for your exit from mainstream politics?
Exactly. And that is a very, very important question, simply because I am still in the parliament. I am not stepping down from representing my constituency. I'm still the leader of the opposition. And so after our conference, next month, the 28th of November, I shall still be the leader of the opposition and the representative for my constituents in my constituency. So to say that I am resigning from politics is not really so at all. But the leadership of the party is going to be contested by 3 young comrades, each of whom is vying for the national political leader of the party.
And explain to me the process by which which Labour is going to anoint its new leader.
Right. After the elections of after the elections of June the 15th of 2020, we went into a situation where we looked at the reasons for losing. We looked at the entire electoral process. Of course, as you would know, there was some challenging of the results in the court. We looked at what it is that the party needs to do on a new strategic plan for the next 5 years in order to assist the party in getting back into office. We looked at restructuring the party, expanding the leadership, making sharper divisions between the political leadership and the administrative leadership. In fact, whereas before we had just one deputy leader, we now have, after a constitutional conference in May of this year, 2 deputy political leaders. Whereas before we had 1 chairman and 1 vice chairman or chairperson, we now have 3 vice chairpersons with one chairperson. So in other words, we have really looked at revamping the structure of the party. We have looked at how we can make the party more functional and how it can better deliver to the people on its mandate and thus form the government. So the electoral process, it comes every 2 years now. It used to be every year. Now it is every 2 years from the new constitution. We will have, therefore, in November, the election for the entire national executive of the party. There is what we call a period for nomination. 40 days before the actual balloting, there will be a nomination process. That ended on Monday. So we now have, for the leader of the party, the national political leader, 3 persons vying for that position. The voice note that you would have heard was when I was explaining to some of our comrades in one of our constituencies that we would have already had nominated 2 of our potential leaders. One was the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanby in constituency number 1 in the Bastia area. The other is Dr. Terence Drew, who was nominated for his constituency by 2 of our branches. And so I was asking those that I was speaking to consider nominating Congress Maynard as the 3rd person to contend in determining the national political leadership of our party. And that voice note was leaked. It would appear maliciously. It should have never been taped, but someone taped it and leaked it maliciously. The intent of which I'm still to determine.
And so your advice to that meeting that was heard in the voice note on MP Congress Maynard,
yes.
Can we consider that an endorsement by Dr. Denzel Douglas as of Maynard as leader candidate?
He has been nominated as a candidate for the leadership. As I said, once I determined that I was not going to stand for the election, I thought it best, as we had agreed, that all 3 of them should get themselves nominated. This is what we agreed as the leaders of the party, former candidates, MPs, and also those who are in the strategic positions of the party.
But do you have a preferred candidate that you would like to see succeed you, Dr. Douglas?
Well, you know, as in my position as the leader, I cannot at all make reference to that. That I think would and could interfere with the process. And so I would not wish to disclose that at all.
And you spoke in the voice note about disrespect. You spoke a lot about that. You said, you know, I wouldn't say I'm hurt, but I feel disrespected. Do you
remember the words?
Yes, I listened. Are you concerned about disrespect from some members who might be eager to see you leave? I know there's also a commentary. Someone wrote a commentary on social media talking about you staying on for a while and then leaving, that, you know, and people alluding that it might be time for you to go, but you are stepping away from the party. But do you feel like you're being disrespected by some members who are going to leave?
Well, I spoke at that time to some of the comments that were being made by some of our comrades. Very unfortunate, very, very unfortunate situation. And it is not something I would have said publicly, but I thought I was speaking to the family of Labour. So I was very, very free in expressing myself. Because I really think that some comrades were being misled. And so I thought that you should not go down that path, which of course could lead to my interpretation as being disrespectful. I wasn't a politician things, but when people are making a statement without basis, that can become dangerous and disrespectful. Because the reason that was being given behind Douglas should go was that Douglas wants to stay here forever. Absolute nonsense.
Well, there has to be a time for Dr. Douglas to put his feet up. So, you know, you say you felt like you were speaking to the family of Labour, but the leaking of the audio seems to speak to some bad blood within your organization. Would you agree with that?
Well, as I told someone yesterday, it speaks of the level of ill discipline. That is what I was really speaking to. How ill-disciplined we are, that information that is being discussed in a private political meeting of a branch, a constituency branch, can find its way into the social media and viralize. This is because it was firstly a Zoom meeting. We expect that if we are to use the opportunity to communicate with our people, given the pandemic conditions under which we are operating, that we would have to use the technology. But people must be disciplined in using this technology. And that is what I think we are now faced with, having heard that voice note. Luckily, I was not saying something that I am not able to say publicly. And so it doesn't really ruffle my feathers at all. But it expresses, as I said before, how careful we must be when we are communicating in this era when we are using new technologies.
And as you spoke earlier of revamping certain aspects of the party, and as the party prepares to face the electorate down the road, where is the St. Lucia Labour Party now generally?
St. Kitts.
Sorry, St. Kitts.
St. Kitts Nevis.
Most greatest apologies. Where is the St. Kitts Labour Party right now in terms of getting ready to take on the coalition of the Unity Team Unity?
Right. And that is why it is unfortunate that this is happening at a time when the unity government is dismantling. In fact, we have heard that the three parties, the three units, I should say, of the coalition are going to be going their separate ways. In fact, just Monday of this week, the leader of the People's Action Movement, PAM, announced to have a new candidate in a constituency that Dr. Harris was trying to impose one of his own candidates to vie in that particular constituency. And that has been rudely rejected by the People's Action Movement. There are serious problems, very, very serious problems, where, as you know, Dr. Harris, within a year of winning the last election in June, when his party had its convention in March, April of this year, he declared that he was going to have a third term. He did not say it from his lips, but the guest speaker whom he brought from Trinidad did say Dr. Harris deserves to have a third term, even though he had signed an agreement with the other coalition partners that he would not have more than 2 terms. That is where I think we saw the cascading of events that now are leading to the separation of the three units in coalition. So the Labour Party, therefore, has to get its act together. We are making leadership change at a critical time, not only in the history of our party, but also at a critical time in the cycle of elections for St. Kitts and Nevis. We need to make sure that if we are going to win the next election, given what now appears to be the disunity in the unity coalition, Labour must have its act put together. The new leadership must settle down. The bickering between our various supporters over which of the leaders would eventually emerge as the national political leader, that must come to an end. We must show complete unity, togetherness, oneness among our comrades. I want to make it clear that I am not in any bad blood with any of my colleagues at the level or at the lower level. We are in this together, and we intend to ensure that we work fervently, we work in togetherness so that we can replace this government which has failed the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
You said fail the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. What is your assessment of their performance? You speak of them unraveling as a political coalition. How would you judge their management of the nation?
Well, firstly, I know that the pandemic has really ravaged many of the countries. The economy of St. Kitts and Nevis, if it is an economy of success, why are we having so much hardship among our people? Why so many people are unemployed? Why is it the basic necessities that people would need to sustain their livelihoods are not available? Why the basic utilities, monies can't be found to pay for them? Why must our children still go to sleep hungry at night? Why so many mothers who are the breadwinners of our families, they are still unemployed and unable to make it? Why didn't we have a proper plan in managing the pandemic? Why so many deaths? Why must there be a collapse in the tracing of contacts? Why do we have, when you are quarantined for 2 weeks, you are held in quarantine for 4 weeks because the results.
And what would be your answer, Dr. Douglas, to all of those questions? What is the why of all of these problems?
Because of poor management of the country. The government, it is in division. The government is broken. The government no longer has as its priority the interest of the ordinary people. They are looking after themselves. And that is very, very clear here.
So, and let me ask you this finally. As you prepare to leave the stage of leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, do you feel that your legacy is secure? Do you feel like there's a legacy to leave behind? Have you done all that you wanted to do? Any major disappointment? Anything left undone?
Well, the only thing that I feel somewhat disappointed in, one is being cheated out of the last elections. The entire process was totally manipulated by the government. That's one. Two, it would have been good for me to be part of the management of this pandemic. I've had some experience in that regard. I had an experience, quite a bit of experience as the leader in CARICOM dealing with the HIV/AIDS pandemic, and we have been able to manage that. The government here has completely refused to involve the opposition in the management of the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic. But I am very, very proud of the legacy. The built infrastructure, the human capital that has been trained and prepared to lead our country into further and further into its independence. Those are some of the areas I believe that we have succeeded.
I want to thank you so much for being on The Narrative with me, and we will be happy to have you back another time. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very, very much as well. Next time.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
Welcome back to Inside the News. Let's head back to the phone lines. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Call us at 466-0989. Okay, we have a call on the line. Let's take this call. Caller, good afternoon. On the air.
Hello.
Yes, caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, thanks. And you?
I'm doing excellent.
Awesome.
I want to say that when I didn't listen to the program before because I was following the cricket. Unfortunately, West Indies going down. I don't know if you're into the cricket.
Well, to be honest, I'm not a let me not say a fan, but I'm not too versed on cricket.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, just a quick update is that the West Indies played the first match today in the World Cup, and unfortunately scoring the third lowest score, which was just 55, and England chasing down that score in the 8.2 overs, going a victory up, fortunately for England and unfortunately for the West Indies. But I will leave that there for now, after West Indies going down at 12:25 p.m. this afternoon. It really was another sad moment for the Caribbean people. But let me get on to the business. I just sadly listened to a interview by the very dishonorable, horrible, and disgraced leader of the opposition. And that is a reality. But before I move on, let me just say, I want to share my sympathy to every single person who would have lost a loved one, especially because of COVID, but even outside of COVID, to share my sympathy to every single family members and ask them to stay strong at this time. But let me get back. As I said, I listened to the dishonorable leader of the opposition. We have 3 prime ministers throughout our nation's history. The first, the worst, and now we have the present. I listened to this as he wrapped up in reference to the contribution and the government of St. Kitts and Nevis. And imagine, well, I am looking forward for him. Maybe he will do it in Parliament in terms of an official apology to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. I am definitely looking forward for that moment. But he mentioned in reference to unemployment. Imagine, unemployment. He, as the Prime Minister of this country in 2012, on the 13th of December 2012, he led his government on Bank Street to open up a program called PEP down on Bank Street, because we had a high employment situation in the country, and we had no pandemic at that time. Where you have a pandemic that's affecting the world, especially the largest industry in the world. And I think I understand that you used to work in the largest industry in the world. Is that correct?
Repeat that, caller.
Yeah, I said, I think I heard that you used to work in the largest industry in the world. Is that correct?
That I used to work there?
In the largest industry in the world, a part of it.
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Were you working in the tourist industry?
Yes.
Before the pandemic?
Yes.
and that end your employment based on the situation of the pandemic?
If my employment ended because of the pandemic?
Yeah.
Yes, it did.
Right. Just like the many millions around the world. Not here in St. Kitts and Nevis. So how come a dishonorable leader, a dishonest leader, a disgraced leader is going to come and state in reference to unemployment? Even without a crisis, you must have unemployment in a country. You're not going to have any country in the world where you're going to have everybody employed. It's not going to happen. And when you are going to have the record of the St. Kitts Nevis government, it is happened to be the best government in the Caribbean on record. Who can dispute that? The St. Kitts Nevis government ain't gone to no IMF, to no World Bank, to no CDB, and no whatever. The St. Kitts Nevis government in a crisis gave 2 stimulus packages. Some government have not even given one as yet. The Dominican government asked the people in Dominica who lose the job to go take a loan. He spoke in reference to the election again. Imagine, I am saying that 1995 happened to be one of our worst years in the history of this country. Fortunately, it was ended in 2015 when the great God above decided to tell Pharaoh that he will let my people go. And even some people joined him, Pharaoh, and the TV in 2020. So we get together again. They could get together again, but I know for sure that they will not get together again in Church Street or in government. And I will deal with that situation another time. I want to say that our country was bankrupt. We are the only country had to swap land for debt. We had to go down on our knees to the IMF. We had to go and put VAT, which was about the highest, second highest in this country.
Right. Caller, we want to take some more calls, so we're going to have to end this one with you quickly.
Okay. Let me just say that I wish Natasha Gray all the best. St. Christopher won, the Labour Party won in 2015, but St. Christopher one did not win. Next time around, in 2025, St. Christopher one will be on the winning ballot again. Let me just leave it there for now because I have so much definitely to say, but I will just leave it there for now. You take care.
Right, and thank you so much, caller, for your contribution to this program. We want to get in at least one more call. It is 29 minutes past the hour of 1. The program ends in just about a minute, so we're going to try to squeeze in one more caller before we wrap up this discussion. Let's take this last call. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, good afternoon again, Mr. Cornelius. There's another type of transition that we are going to have to go through, and that is clearing the air and establishing correct and accurate records of the accomplishments of our prime ministers since independence. Okay? Yes, I know there's a lot of political partisanship, but there is also a historical record. And if I were Dr. Douglas, one of the things that I would do that he has not done is defend my legacy. because his was a good one. Of course, he made mistakes, but when you look at the fact that we are currently operating under an economy that he largely left intact, okay? The pillars were there. We have not done anything new for the past 6 years. All that we are doing now was built essentially by the foundation that same Dr. Douglas did, okay? Like I said, I mentioned the CBI, the land for debt swap. As much as you criticize it, it has not been reversed, and it has not been reversed because it was found to be a good policy that brought down our debt to GDP ratio, right? The assistance that was given to places like Marriott to keep on their workers, Christoph Harbour and Kittison Hill to keep people working, as opposed to giving them direct payments from the Treasury. I mean, what has happened in the interim is that our whole psyche has changed, and everybody expects a handout from the government. I would think that most people would prefer to be gainfully employed, right, than to be getting handouts from government. I might be wrong, but I feel people feel more of a sense of independence when they're working as opposed to getting a handout, okay? And so when we look at those types of accomplishments, I think, despite the fact that the then opposition was very successful in demonizing him, overall, his efforts would have been commendable, all right? And so I think that's something that we're going to have to come to grips with. I know that being the dominant force he was in our politics for the past umpteen years, that I guess it's going to be very hard to not talk about him, right? But I would hope as he fades into the history of our politics, that, you know, it will be kind to him overall. Okay?
Right.
Then.
Right. Caller, thank you so much for your contribution to this program. We are at the end of Inside the News here on 1FM 98.9, and so we're going to wrap up this discussion. Let me say thank you so much for your participation. A very good discussion we had here today, and thank you guys once more for your participation. This is the end of Inside the News for today, and I've been your host, Devon Cornelius. Until next time, stay safe, and I wish you a fantastic weekend. And I wish you a productive week ahead.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects or sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean